When people refer to George Martin as the fifth Beatle, it isn't simply because he produced the band's records. It's because his influence reached far beyond the recording console. Martin helped transform four exceptionally talented musicians from Liverpool into artists capable of creating some of the most sophisticated popular music ever recorded. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr already possessed extraordinary songwriting ability long before they entered EMI studios. Their melodies were memorable, their chemistry undeniable, and their ambition obvious from the beginning. But Martin recognized something even greater, the limitless musical potential hiding beneath their straightforward rock and roll beginnings. Rather than changing the Beatles into something they weren't, Martin refined what already existed. His classical training allowed him to expand their ideas with elegant arrangements, orchestral textures, and innovative recording techniques while preserving the band's unmistakable personality. As the years passed, that collaboration became one of the most productive creative partnerships in music history. By the late 1960s, however, something remarkable had happened. The Beatles were no longer relying solely on Martin's guidance. They had absorbed many of his musical instincts, becoming increasingly adventurous composers and skilled studio craftsmen in their own right. Songs were no longer built around simple verse-chorus structures. Instead, they explored unusual chord progressions, layered instrumentation, intricate arrangements, and vocal performances that pushed far beyond the boundaries of contemporary pop music. One area where that evolution became especially apparent was their vocal harmony. From the beginning of Beatlemania, close harmonies had been one of the group's defining characteristics. Early classics like Please Please Me, This Boy, and All My Loving showcased the effortless blend between Lennon and McCartney, often strengthened by George Harrison's carefully placed third harmony. Yet as the band matured, those harmonies became increasingly sophisticated. Instead of merely supporting the lead vocal, they became an essential part of the musical architecture itself. That artistic peak arrived during the sessions for Abbey Road in 1969. Often regarded as the Beatles' finest studio achievement, Abbey Road captured four musicians working with extraordinary precision despite the personal tensions that surrounded the band's final months together. Every member was operating at an incredibly high musical level, and George Martin's production tied everything together into one remarkably cohesive album. Among its many highlights sits one of the band's most breathtaking recordings, Because. Unlike many Beatles classics driven by catchy hooks or infectious energy, Because creates its magic through atmosphere. The song feels almost suspended in time, built around delicate electric harpsichord, Moog synthesizer, subtle instrumentation, and perhaps the most beautiful vocal arrangement the Beatles ever recorded. The inspiration itself came from an unexpected source. John Lennon reportedly asked Yoko Ono to play the opening movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata on the piano, but in reverse chord order. Fascinated by the resulting progression, Lennon developed it into an original composition that would become one of the haunting tracks in the Beatles' catalog. The recording process was equally remarkable. Rather than relying on a full choir, Lennon, McCartney, and Harrison recorded their intricate three-part harmony 3 separate times. Layered together, the result created 9 perfectly blended vocal parts, producing an almost celestial sound, unlike anything else in popular music at the time. Decades later, George Martin revisited the song while working with his son, Giles Martin, on the 2006 Love project for Cirque du Soleil. Listening to the master tapes again only strengthened his admiration for what the three singers had accomplished. An inspired offering from John when we recorded it for the Abbey Road album. He had heard the opening movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata and then evolved a pattern of arpeggios on his guitar that laid the foundation for this song. Listening anew to this track, with the harmonies that only John, McCartney, and Harrison could provide, one realizes what great vocalists they were. For Martin, the brilliance of Because wasn't simply its composition, it was the extraordinary blend of voices. Individually, Lennon, McCartney, and Harrison each possessed distinctive vocal personalities. Lennon's voice carried emotional vulnerability and edge. McCartney brought remarkable range and melodic precision, while Harrison contributed warmth and balance. Together, those contrasting voices became something entirely unique. Few vocal groups have ever achieved such a seamless fusion of tone, timing, and pitch. Every harmony feels effortless, yet each note is placed with astonishing accuracy. There is no single voice dominating the others. Instead, they merge into one unified instrument. It's a reminder that one of the Beatles' greatest strengths was never just songwriting or innovation. It was the chemistry between four musicians who instinctively knew how to elevate one another. Although songs like Hey Jude, Let It Be, or A Day in the Life often receive more attention, Because remains one of the clearest demonstrations of the band's musical maturity. It doesn't rely on dramatic orchestration or unforgettable sing-along choruses. Instead, it captivates through subtlety, restraint, and breathtaking vocal craftsmanship. For George Martin, a man who spent nearly a decade helping shape the Beatles' sound, that was enough to make Because stand apart. Among hundreds of unforgettable Beatles recordings, it was this quiet masterpiece that best revealed what John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison could achieve when their voices became one.